Hi all, welcome to this session on statistics for data science. So as a beginner, we always tend to skip the statistics, okay, when we are learning data science, but statistics is very, very important. Okay, it helps us to understand what data is. So data is always a very messy, incomplete information. You will find lots of mistakes in our data, but this statistics help us to quantify the data. So it will help us. Data is just a number. Okay, so this statistics is what it gives the meaningful, or it just gives the meaning for those numbers. So firstly, statistics helps us to understand the summarized information. So what is the summarization? See, for an example, you have a sales information per city, then you're gonna add all the sales information per city. So let's say Chennai 2000, Mumbai 5000. So it will help us to understand the summarized information, and statistics help us to predict the future. Okay, so let's say you have a data. Okay, so what is the data? Data is nothing but a history. Okay, data means something has already happened. So using the present information or the past information, so you're trying to predict something for the future. Okay, so let's say for an example, COVID information. COVID data means what? The COVID has already happened, right? So you're going to predict something, or maybe the COVID trend, or anything that is for the future. Okay, using your current information. So statistics, again, it will help us to reduce mistake, or it will help us to or it will help us, or it can sometimes we can mislead something. Like for an example, if we have outliers in our data, so our study might mislead. So for an example, let's say you're working on the population data of the world, and if you include China and India, which is like a huge information. So what happened? The average tends to move up. Okay, this is what we call it as an outlier. So because of the outlier, often you will have a misleading information. This statistics that will help us to understand, okay, what is the outlier, and it will try to reduce those mistakes. So this will prevent us to uh, make, or it will prevent the wrong conclusions. So finally, statistics is the foundation of machine learning and the data science. So everything we will see one by one. So just we will start with the initial introduction of statistics, and slowly we will understand, okay, each and every small things inside statistics. So firstly, so what is statistics? So statistics is the art of learning from the data, according to Ross Sheldon. It is the art of learning from the data. And traditional standpoint, if you take, statistics is the collection of data, their subsequent description and their analysis. But then in the current era, we are not going to collect the information. Okay, so we assume that the data has been already collected and been stored in our database. Okay, so traditionally statisticians would go and collect the information, but for us, okay, in this current era, we don't need to collect any information, correct? So every data will be collected digitally. So we will skip this part of collection of data. Now, once we get our data, assuming that the data has been already collected, so with the data, we have to describe the data, or we have to interpret the data. Okay, so we have to understand the data and find some meaningful insights from the data. Okay, so that is the definition of your statistics. So major branch of statistics, if you take, majorly there are two branches of statistics. One is descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So what is descriptive? You just think about your past. Okay, so you are studying about history, that's it. Okay, so data itself is like a history. When there is a data, it means the event has already happened, correct? Without the event taking place, then how would you get a data? Okay, so when you are analyzing something up, when you are trying to find something in the data, which means you're trying to understand the history. So we use, let's say, COVID as an example. So you have a COVID data. Now you start summarizing. What is summarizing? When you have a huge information, you try to cut short other things and you focus on main information and try to give an answers. Like for an example, COVID patients per city. Okay, so you summarize it per city and you do an average per city. Okay, this is called summarization, which we will see in no further slides. So you summarize and organize the information, and because of these summarization, so what will happen, we will try to understand the trend. Okay, which city has highly affected zone, which is like red zone, orange zone. Okay, so you will try to we will get the trend which we might not know. If you see the whole picture, if you see the whole data, we will not understand. But when you start summarizing the information, when you plot it in a line chart, or when you plot it in a bar chart, we will understand the trend. Okay, so something about the past is what descriptive. Okay, something for the future, okay, it is for the inferential statistics. Okay, inferential statistics, which we may consider, as I said, it's for the future, right? So we are going to do something, we are going to use the past information and apply it for the future. So in this case, we are going to study about sample data and the population. Okay, as of now, let's keep it simple. So let's say you are trying to study about the entire population in our India. Let's say like students who are passed out 10th, how many students would be in our country, right? So we cannot study all the students in India. So you're going to take a particular sample and then study about it, apply the decision, apply whatever study that you have made, you're going to apply it for the larger population. Okay, that is your inferential statistics. So you're going to make a decisions for the entire bigger picture. So this branch is about managing uncertainty. As I said, in the future, okay, you never know what would happen. Okay, so you're going to manage that uncertainty, and based on the sample evidence study, so it's you gonna support it for our future. So very basic, small information, descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive, again, just a summarization. So what does the data say? It's about the history. And inferential, okay, you're going to analyze the sample and apply it for the entire bigger picture. Okay, so what are the things you're going to study in the descriptive? It's like basically central tendency, like mean, median, mode. And we are going to study about the data visualization. And inferential statistics, you're going to study about hypothesis testing, probability, confidence intervals. So we will all see these the further upcoming slides. So that's it for today's class, and we will see you in the next video.